Hello there guys and welcome back to another video of mine here on my channel, and this time it's not been as long as last time, so I hope you're happy with that. But there is now actually things to talk about. Of course, the last video I did make was about our transfer ban having been uplifted by, the Court of Arbitration for Sport ruling, and now we can sign players in January. And surprise, surprise, there's rumours. There's loads and loads of rumours. There's, of course, the manager is asked about it pretty much in every press conference. He's even given minor hints towards certain things as well. So there is things to talk about. We're linked to certain players. We're talking about certain players, and I just want to share my opinions on that. Want to share, give you the information if you haven't, kept yourself up to date with everything that is happening on, what every newspaper is saying, what happens on Twitter and everything. So if you, haven't seen all of that, you're in the right spot. You're in exactly the right spot. Like I say, we have the January transfer window to sign players. Apparently, we have a transfer budget of around £150 million to spend in January. And, personally, I would look at 2, 3, maybe 4 positions where we could strengthen. Will that happen in January? No. But the players that we are looking at kind of help us in 4 positions, if what the reports are saying are to be believed, I guess. That is kind of what we're looking at. Now, personally, I would say I would love to look at a left-back, depending on who we can get. I would love to look at a left-back. Possibly a centre-back. I wouldn't personally sign one in January, but I would understand if we wouldn't want to look at it. A winger would be good, especially with how poor Pedro has been. Hudson-Odoi's not been in great form, and Pulisic and Willian just have, I've had to play so many games in a row. It's kind of been a bit mad. So a winger wouldn't do us badly. And a striker as well. I don't rate Olivier Giroud, but Chouai is good off the bench, but not exactly great when he has to start games. And then, we saw when Tammy Abraham was injured for that one game, we were shocking. And, against West Ham, we were poor and we lost. Now, the first big name that, of course, has been mentioned, not even just now, but even before. Of course, our transfer ban has been uplifted, and I mentioned him briefly in the video last week as well. Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho, of course, the English winger that plays for Borussia Dortmund, went to Dortmund from Man City, but did grow up as a Chelsea fan. And of course, he is one of the most sought-after wingers in the world. He's only 19 years of age, turns 20 early next year. And he's doing really, really well. Considering his age, it's ridiculous how well he's doing. There have, of course, been some disciplinary problems with him. He was late from the international duty with England. He was late for a team meeting. I had him dropped for the Barcelona game in the Champions League 2 weeks ago. He was taken off after half an hour against Bayern because the manager didn't think he worked hard enough and everything. So there have been minor problems. But of course, you could say if he's a Chelsea fan and Frank Lampard, maybe we could sort that out. But the question is, can we get him in January? Probably not. If we're being honest, it's probably very unlikely to get Jadon Sancho now. It's just as simple as that. Like, Borussia Dortmund have a history of refusing to sell players, even in summers. Like, they refused to sell Lewandowski for €40 million to Bayern Munich and were more than happy to let him go on a free to Bayern Munich the summer after. Well, they probably weren't more than happy to, but they kind of hoped Lewandowski would extend his contract. And they wouldn't have to sell him for as little as 40 million, but they took that risk and they had to give, him to Bayern Munich for free, and Mario Götze at the time went to Bayern Munich for free as well. So, they do these strange things. And, even if we tried, even if we offered them 100 million, they could possibly just turn it down. We're also reportedly interested in Timo Werner, who is, of course, the German striker playing for RB Leipzig. Not a club I like at all. He's a good player, though. Apparently, there were scouts at the game yesterday. On Tuesday they played against Lyon. That finished 2-2. There was also scouts there apparently to look at Dembele, the French striker, who, kind of came through at Fulham, went to Celtic, and now he's at Lyon and, doing pretty well there. He was meant to go to Spurs at some point, but then that fell through with some medical problems, I guess. So now that apparently we're looking at both of those as well. Both of them very much so sought after. Werner, in my opinion, is better, although I will admit I haven't seen as much from Dembele as I have from Werner. Werner is just very quick. Whether he's the perfect striker to be in the Premier League, with his pace being by far his biggest attribute. He can finish all right, but in the Prem you don't really get to use your pace as a striker so much. So I'm not sure whether that's the very best option, but he would probably be a bit cheaper than people think he will be. So not a bad shout. Dembele, again, don't really know enough about. Haven't watched him enough. I know his stats and everything, but I haven't watched him enough to, give you a proper educated opinion on the whole matter. Like, I like him. He's pretty good. Like, whenever I've seen him play, he's all right. But I would he wouldn't be someone that I'm like, okay, we need him right now. A lot of people are, but I personally am not. But then again, that could be because I haven't watched him more. We're also linked to this guy called Chalov from CSKA Moscow. Yeah, again, would be lying if I said I watched him a lot. I hope we're not going to sign him. I don't think he's high on our priority list. I think he's just one of those options. We have a Russian owner and everything, so that is that. But what has, of course, been the biggest topic of discussion in the last, since yesterday really, has been Wilfried Zaha. Now, Crystal Palace have basically set a price tag of £80 million on him. And the reports do say that Chelsea are preparing a bid for him. That Chelsea are in talks and want to sign him. That we want to sign him in January. And first thought, I was like, 80 million? Are we mental? And I still stand by that. 80 million for Wilfried Zaha is ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. I don't care about, today's market is just inflated. No. An inflated market price for Wilfried Zaha is 50 million. Maybe 60 million. 80 million is just ludicrous. But there is a lack of options here, isn't there? We can't really get Sancho at the moment. Pedro is either on his way out or just not good enough to play if he does stick around. And Zaha can come in as an option for both the wing and up front. He's played up front for Crystal Palace plenty of times. He's played on the wing for Crystal Palace plenty of times. And yes, I know his goal output and his assist output, especially this season, hasn't been good at all. Willian outperforming him in that sense. And you have to look at that. At the same time, he is a very good dribbler. A very, very good dribbler. One of the best dribblers that the Premier League has now that Eden Hazard has left. And he is probably the best option that is probably available now in January that wouldn't take a lot of time to settle in and everything. You have to think about that as well. When you sign players in January, you have to think about the fact that it makes a difference whether they're a Premier League player or whether you sign them from abroad. Because, just think of Pato. Think about Pato from a few years ago. Of course, whoever we signed won't be as bad as Pato with, taking time to get fit because, Pato was on holiday, basically. So, of course, it won't be like that. But he didn't make his debut until April when we signed him in January. And when you sign someone from the Premier League who knows the Premier League, that is obviously much, 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 much easier. He's even from the same, he's from London as it is already. So even that is a whole lot easier. Of course, he would, need to get used to slightly to playing in an attacking team, in a dominant team, in one of a top 6 team, and in a different system. And yes, I know he kind of flopped at United. Did he always get a fair chance? Who knows? It's difficult. You can debate about that for a long, long time. But he is a good player. Is he great? No. People say he would be our best winger. I strongly disagree. I don't think he's as good as Christian Pulisic is. Is he better than Hudson-Odoi right now? Possibly. Is he better than, Hudson-Odoi has the potential to be way, way better than Wilfried Zaha. The thing with Wilfried Zaha is, now if he was 24, I would accept all of this. But he's 27. He's not even young. So I'm hold off. Hold off. But, like I say, if that is the kind of only option we have, sign Zaha now, get rid of Pedro, and then whatever happens with Willian, whether we give him a new contract to just sell him in the summer or whether he doesn't end up receiving a new contract when, he said that, there is talks between his agent and the club and, the club knows what he wants and he's just hoping for everything to be sorted out, but everything's normal and he's focused on Chelsea and he doesn't want to talk to any clubs in January, even though, of course, he's allowed. So all of those things sound like he will extend his contract, but whether that will just be to get money out of him in the summer, we'll have to wait and see. But if we sign Zaha now, get rid of Pedro, then we kind of have a backup striker as well. We have another winger option that is better than Pedro, a lot better. And then in the summer, we can still sign Jadon Sancho and just get rid of Willian and then have 4 good wingers. 3 proper good wingers and then Zaha both as a striker and as a winger option, which isn't bad. And if we want to compete with Liverpool and City long term, we need that kind of depth in our positions. People say it's a detriment to Hudson-Odoi's development. Well, at the moment, the biggest detriment is his form. Of course, he's come back from a big injury, but yes, but he was much better initially when he came back. So unless he picked up another sort of problem since then, of course he had the hamstring problem, but the hamstring problem doesn't keep you from playing well when you're over it again. So that's his biggest problem now. And Lampard will be, if Hudson-Odoi performs in training and then when he gets the chance performs in games, he will play over Jadon Sancho. He will play over Wilfried Zaha if he performs better than him. It's as simple as that. So I don't think we have that excuse. In all honesty, we have that excuse. If we want to compete with City and Liverpool, we need that kind of depth. And so I can kind of see that. Get Zaha now, get rid of Pedro, get Jadon Sancho in the summer, and get rid of Willian. That wouldn't be awful. That would not be awful. But 80 million is too much. Of course, if we can get him for 50, 60, in my opinion, 40 million, great. But will we? I don't think so. I don't think Palace will budge. Maybe if he, goes all out and refuses to train and really, really tries to force this move, hands in a transfer request and all sorts, maybe that will lower the price a little bit. But whether he will be willing to do that, risk it that, you know, he doesn't get games until the end of the season, and then possibly we don't even want him anymore. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't be a fan of it to sign him for 80 million, but it's still not my money, is it? It's not my money. So with the lack of options that we have and with the things that we need, like Lampard even said, we lost Hazard. We lost by far our biggest goal and goal contribution player, whether it's scoring goals or assisting or just being involved in the build-up to goals. And he wants basically improvement in the creative area. Like, he wants to strengthen in that area. And then there is not that many options that would, be of immediate help because, not everyone is from the Premier League and everything. So I would understand it. Then coming to the other positions where we are linked to people, of course, the left-back, centre-back position. Let's be talking about Ben Chilwell from Leicester. It's one that I'm sure we are interested in. But I don't think we'll get him now. Like, Leicester second, we're quite a few points behind them now. I don't know the exact number of points we're behind them, but we're behind them. Why would he leave Leicester right now? Would he? I mean, yes, of course he could play in the Champions League with us, at least for one tie, whoever that may be against, with the draw, of course, taking place on Monday. I'm just not sure, if you get me. Like, I don't think we'll get Ben Chilwell now. I just think it's as simple as that. I don't think we'll get Ben Chilwell. And then who there also have been reports about is Nathan Ake. Of course, we all know Nathan Ake. We signed him when he was a young kid. Then we loaned him out. Then we got him back. And then we sold him. But we do have a buyback option for £40 million, when pretty much everyone else would probably have to pay 60, if not £70 million for him. Because he's very good. The problem is just he's a bit short. But the thing with Nathan Ake is I think we want to get rid of Marcus Alonso. Marcus Alonso is on a high salary contract. He's on a long-term contract as well, considering he only signed that a year ago. Did he sign that at the start of last season? I think he might have done. So he's on a long-term contract. So whether we manage to sell him or whether we manage to loan him out to whoever is a different story. But Nathan Ake coming in is an option for different positions. First of all, he's a left-footed player. And having a left-footed player at centre-back would be very helpful just to play out from the back. Like, that is always a positive when you don't just have right-footed players, and we don't have any other left-footed centre-back. So that is a positive that, he would bring. Again, I still do think he's a bit too short to be a top-class Premier League centre-back. Same with Ethan Ampadu. I think they're both just a tiny bit too short. I just think that is that. But when I think about the left-back position, it doesn't even necessarily mean that he has to start every week. But I reckon that Nathan Ake is a lot better at left-back than Marcus Alonso is, even if Ake hasn't played there regularly. Like, I guarantee you he's quicker than Marcus Alonso. I guarantee you he's better on the ball than Marcus Alonso. And he can't be much worse than him at crossing. The only thing he's not as good at probably is taking free kicks. But how many has Alonso taken when he doesn't play anyway? And then even then, how many has he scored? Okay, 2 years ago, yes. But now, no. So, even when he does play and take some, although that's not really regularly the case. And Ake actually scores quite a lot of goals as well. Like, a lot, this may be an overstatement, but considering he's a centre-back and playing for Bournemouth, he scores quite a few goals. Scored some big goals for Bournemouth as well. So he knows how to get in there in the box for set pieces as well. So it's not even like we lose anything. So I actually think he would probably be a better left-back than Marcus Alonso as it is, but not necessarily start. But then we have Emerson at left-back or Aspie at left-back, but he's also a centre-back option. Possibly Christensen could be leaving in the summer. He's not really getting as many games as I'm sure he would have hoped. And when he is getting games, he's not playing as well as he should, in my opinion. Falls over a bit like Morata, which is really pissing me off. And, Nathan Ake is an absolute steal. We won't get a centre-back of his ability for 40 million anywhere else, simply because for him we have that buyback option. So it is a tricky one, but I would certainly agree to Nathan Ake, sign him now. And it's a bit like with the Zaha, Pedro Williams situation. Get Ake now, just as a replacement for Alonso, but also have him as a centre-back option, depending on what happens, because we still have to try out what works. Rudiger Tomori, Rudiger Zuma more, Rudiger Christensen possibly. And then we also have that option of Rudiger Ake, you have Tomori Ake, Zuma Ake, you have more options. But he also is that option at left-back. And then we get rid of Alonso, you sell him, loan him, whatever, have Ake in there, get him now, simply because we can't get Ben Chilwell right now. And then in the summer, we can get Ben Chilwell. Christensen possibly leaves, or someone else, but I would see Christensen as the most likely to leave out of our current centre-backs. Christensen leaves, Ake becomes one of the centre-back options, and Ben Chilwell comes in as the left-back, and then we have everything sorted. And it's just taking strides to improve our squad significantly with taking different options, and taking one right now that improves us in two positions a bit. And then in the summer, when we sign another one, we improve drastically because we then have both positions, strengthened a lot. And it's a bit like that with the winger and striker position. You get Zaha now, he helps us as a striker, he helps us on the wing. And then you get Sancho in the summer, then you have Zaha as a kind of as a more permanent, kind of backup striker to Tammy Abraham, I guess. Whether he will be happy with that, I don't know, but I'm sure Zaha will back himself to outperform Tammy and just start over him. But then we have those options, we have the depth. So hence why I don't think it would be too bad. 40 million for AKE, you have to, like, it's a steal, kind of, because we obviously put that option, that clause in place when we did sell him. 80 million for Zaha is too much, but what other options do we have? And if you want to strengthen, like, either pay it or don't send anymore, because I don't want Chalov. I don't think we're going to get Werner or Dembele right now. Dembele maybe, but I don't think so. Sancho is not happening now either, and, you know, Chalov, as far as I'm aware, isn't really a winger option. Dembele isn't really a winger option either. Werner can be, but not so much. And Zaha is more so that option for both. So, you know, hence why I wouldn't be all too upset with it. But I would, of course, like him for much, much cheaper. But to be honest, guys, don't even know how long this video has been. How long have I been going? I've been recording for actually quite a while, so might cut this down. But yeah, I do appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in. Really do appreciate it. Obviously, there is nice stuff to talk about. Not sure when I'll next make a video about transfers or anything else. Just whenever anything comes out that is worth talking about, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. Really do appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You know, let's just keep it growing. I know I'm still not consistent enough, but if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be cool. And also leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, and also leave me your thoughts down in the comment section below on all of the things that I mentioned. Would you take Zaha even for 80 million? Would you take AKE? And, you know, take into consideration all the explanations I gave, I guess, whether that might change your mind, because I had a different opinion before I thought of it like that kind of thing. Because before I was like, Zaha for 80 million, are we mental? And I still think we are mental if we pay it. But what can you do? Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the chips, and I'll see you when I see you.